Welcome to the first tutorial for Chapter 1, Solid Modeling of the Introduction to Finite Element Analysis online course. I will be working out of the ANSYS Workbench tutorial 13th edition right here. And you don't need the text for this course, but it is available online if you want to look along. And for this course, I will be solving most of the problems found at the end of each chapter. So let's get started. First, open up Workbench, and we will start with problem 1-4 at the end of chapter 1. So this problem is shown here, creating a plate with the two semicircle cutouts. So let's start in the ANSYS Workbench by dragging in a geometry cell and then right click in new geometry. So first we need to select the units up here on the top to inch, and then we will look at the XY plane. So select XY plane and your coordinates pop up here and select look at. You can zoom in with the mouse wheel, zoom in and out, or you can hold down the middle mouse wheel and rotate. And also, if you want to move the view around, hold down Control on your keyboard and the middle mouse button, and you can move the coordinates around. So let's go back to isometric view by clicking on this blue dot, and then back to the XY plane. So let's start by sketching a rectangle. So we need to change the tab over here on the left to sketching, and then rectangle. And we'll click and hold, drag to draw a rectangle. And now we want to go to constraints and make sure that we have the option to where our mouse will snap on to endpoints and axis. So that is right here, auto constraints, and make sure global and cursor are both checked, and they are. So let's click on dimensions and center up our rectangle here. So general, and we'll click on both of these lines, and we'll do a 8 by 4 inch rectangle. And now we need to center that. So click horizontal and select the axis and the outside line here. And we would want that to be 4 inches. And enter. And we want to center it vertically as well. That will be 2 inches. And now we'll zoom in a little bit. And we need to create our semicircle cutouts. So we'll go back to draw. Scroll down to circle. And we're going to draw 2 circles on the y-axis here. And then we need to go back to dimensions and vertical to put those center of those circles on our lines of our rectangle. So click the x-axis and the center of the circle for both of these. And we will go over here in the left and change those both to 2 inches. And we need to also dimension the diameter of both circles. Click on each circle. Okay, I already have those as equal. So we just need to, let's see, undo that. Okay, and change the diameter to 2 inches. and both of those will change. Um, if you didn't draw both those circles the exact same size before, then you'll just have to click dimension, diameter, and add a dimension to both circles instead of just the one. So now we need to trim the parts that we don't need. So we'll go to modify, trim, and just click the lines outside of our plate that we do not need. So the outside of the circle and the line that's going across the midpoint of this circle here, we're going to get rid of those two as well. And then some of these dimensions will turn red because they don't have a reference point anymore, but that's okay for this exercise. Now we're just going to extrude the plate. So up here we'll click extrude and then select sketch 1 and apply that to the geometry, and the depth we'll just do 1 inch and generate, and now we have our plate. If you wanted to extrude it the same on both sides of the axis here, we could actually go to extrude and change the direction. Instead of normal, we could do both symmetric, and we could change this to 0.5 inches, so it'll be a ½ inch on either side of the axis for a total of 1. So now it's centered up, and we'll click isometric view, and we can also hide this sketch by right-clicking sketch 1 and hide sketch, so that we're just looking at our part here. And that's it for problem 1-4. So we will click File and close Design Modeler. And we can rename this part by clicking on the down arrow, rename, and we'll do 1-4, enter. And now we are ready for the next geometry, which will be 1-5. Double click. And problem 1-5 is a 20-inch diameter cylinder that has an 8-inch square hole cut out of the middle with 1-inch radius corners with a thickness of 0.75 inches. So we'll do that part next. Again, change units to inches, and we are going to be on the XY plane. Let's look at plane. I accidentally created a new plane that we don't need, so I'm going to right click and delete that and just select XY, look at plane. Okay, so now let's go to sketching, and we need a circle with midpoint on the origin, and we will make the diameter 20 inches. Now to center this on our screen, I can right click and select zoom to fit, or just press F7, and our circle comes back into the screen here. And now we need a square, so let's go back to draw, rectangle, and just like before, I'm going to go to dimensions and center that 8-inch square. So we will also need horizontal and a vertical distance. And then go into the dimensions and change those. So this will be 8. And our vertical is 8. And both of our other dimensions will each be 4. So now our square is centered up. And the next step will be to fillet these corners here for the square. So I'll go to Modify and select Fillet. And up here we can change the radius to 1 inch. And then just select both lines that we're going to fillet. And we'll do that for all the corners of the square. And now we're ready to extrude our sketch. Go up here in the toolbar and select Extrude. And we want to select Sketch 1, Apply, and a depth of 0.75 inches, and click Generate. And our part is complete. And that's the end of the first lesson, and I'll see you in lesson 2.